Welcome back. Welcome back, WNYWaterCooler.com podcast. I mean, you got to subscribe, rate, review. Find us on YouTube. We're on all the platforms. I'm Steve, and we got Coast, so we got the playoffs finally.
I, what 6 out of 7 years doing a playoff preview pod? I love it. I love it.
The season seemed slow and fast. I don't know. Maybe it's just my life personally or what, but I don't know. It seemed like both.
Um, it does seem to fly by, but when you're in the midst of it, I mean, this season, this was my favorite. I think this is my favorite all-time Bills team. There was zero drama around the team. There's like the vibes of the team were good from day one. Really. I mean, they had those couple losses there that were a little disconcerting, but it was really about as good of a regular season as you could have rooting for a team, I think.
Yeah, I mean, they won all their games at home, right? And they had blowouts. They had a couple close games. They had two bad losses on the road. And then they realized that what they did in the offseason made no fucking sense. So they got a real receiver.
Oh my God.
I mean,
It
obviously,
was, it was a good weather year for home games, too, I feel like.
yeah, there was the one super cold game, but other than that, I don't. And
Yeah,
there
the
was
snow
one,
game, which was probably fun, but
yeah, and even that was good. And the other game that was supposed to rain, it never even rained. It was dry during the game. And then
Miami
there, so
game I
that,
went to was beautiful.
yeah, it was a pretty good schedule too. Uh,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, but they offensively, I mean, I think you need to address the all of our listeners about, thinking that our offense and losing Diggs was going to just torpedo us.
well,
Second best in points per game, quarterback likely going to win the MVP. Everyone ate.
I mean, that is all true. I was wrong about the offense. I thought the offense would struggle. I mean, what saved the Bills' offense is their three running backs. I mean, that's not even like you can't really dispute that. These three running backs. I mean, Cook has pretty eye-popping numbers, but all three of them just. I mean, I could look it up, but they just all three of them scoring touchdowns, catching the ball out of the backfield, running the ball. Ty Johnson, the rookie, and Cook. I mean, Ray Davis. I mean, these guys, they looked great.
Yeah, Cook had a really good year, and he ended up with what 16 TDs, tied the franchise record. Um, he ran for 1,000 yards. He looks good, and he's. I mean, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't pay him, but he's like teetering on. Is he good enough that you want to pay him? I don't know. That's a tough call.
Yeah, and
I wouldn't do
my
it.
knock on him, yeah, my knock on him always is that he didn't break big runs, and this year he had multiple. He had at least a few,
Yeah.
and he had a couple
Multiple
that were
big
just like
runs.
they closed the game out. I feel like in a few of them.
He got tough yardage too in between the tackles. I think Ty Johnson has a really good role. They used him. It's like against the Lions, they made a specific game plan to use Ty Johnson, and that he just torched them. He's a great receiver out of the backfield, and yeah, he's definitely a weapon. And Davis, Cook was hurt for at least 1 or 2 games. I think Cook he missed the Jets game for sure, the first Jets game, and I think he missed another. I can't remember, but yeah, Davis looked really good running the ball too. I mean, our offensive line had a good season as well. I mean,
That was another thing.
I
That was another concern I had was the center. I mean, old concussed boy, he was getting old and he had a lot of concussions, but we just easily replaced him we didn't miss anything. I mean, it was,
yeah, I mean, you got dude these football players. I mean, think about it. You're almost 40. Like as you get older, you replace a center who's 30 whatever 3 with a guy who's like 8 years younger. I don't know. I mean, it's the same thing with Poyer and Hyde and Diggs. It's like Yeah, these are all names, but none of these guys were good, and they're all on the downside of their career, especially the safeties. And people were so worried about losing these names. Tre'Davious White, like he hadn't been good in 3 years, multiple injuries, and you replace guys with people, you know, 5 to 7 years younger. It's
Well,
it's
I
not a
didn't mind
surprise the
losing them.
report did.
I didn't mind losing
Yeah,
Poyer and Hyde as much as the center and losing Diggs because I always trusted
yeah.
McDermott to find dudes in the secondary. The leadership thing was, I mean, I liked their leadership, or I thought I did, but what did they do in the playoffs? I mean, the last 3 years in the playoffs, some of them were hurt, some of them weren't out there, but I mean,
No, the
did we?
defense from day one, even in 2020 in the playoffs, the defense. I mean, I against teams that could with great passing offenses, they've been no match. And it was not to say they're going to be this year, but it was, it might have been a year too late, really, in moving on from some of these guys. But just the talking heads in the media, obviously, the expectations for me. I wanted to go back and look at what my preseason record prediction was, but I didn't. I didn't do that. But I think it was 12-5. I'd have to go back and check. But just the talking heads out there and all the concerns about who we've lost and the expectations are down. I'm like, why? We're addition by subtraction. I've been saying it all season. And, if you're going to pay a quarterback 50, I mean, Allen's going to get what, 60 a year? He better be the unquestioned leader of your organization. And that's what he was this year. I think Diggs was a big problem.
I think he was more of a problem than probably I. I mean, no one really knows, but I mean, like Allen, he definitely was. He had a different attitude this year, Joshy Poo. Um,
Seemingly.
he just I don't like watch a lot of like middle of the week stuff and behind the scenes camera shit. That's just for like kids, women. I don't know. I don't watch that junk, but
Love that shit. I
ju-
love it.
yeah. But it just seemed like the team. There's not, like you said, no drama at all. Even McDurr was like more laid back, more like he fucking did an interview with fucking Tyler Dunn for some reason, and then that guy's
Shocking.
always on. He's just always on GR. I mean that shows like I guess like kind of like a fuck you. I don't care what you said about me or what you guys wrote about me or whatever. I mean that's kind of I would have been. I'm petty and like vindictive and mean, I guess. McDermott. I mean I was surprised by that. I didn't read this bullshit. I'm not gonna read Tyler Dunn's bullshit because it's like barnacle on a boat. He's pathetic, but.
Jeez. Tyler Dunn he shouldn't. I can't believe the Bills or McDermott allowed him in one Bills drive or wherever they met. That dude should be sent to pasture. To
The window's
he, I,
closed. The window's closed. Oh.
dude,
Uh,
he 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 tried to capitalize on the Bills when they were at their lowest point, and it was a hit piece. It was all the timing of it, everything. He was trying to cash in on during a vulnerable state of the franchise, and it backfired on him. Honestly, frankly, I mean, he did that hit piece. We went like 5-0 after that, and the
and
team like galvanized around him.
and I can't imagine too many. I mean, he lives in this area. I can't imagine people want to fucking read his shit anymore. But I don't even want to talk about that guy anymore. But so just overall, yeah. I mean, we lose some of these older guys. The one thing I was gonna say, are we gonna see Hyde back there recovering or carrying punts and shit, catching punts? I don't know.
No chance. No chance. No chance.
Why is he on the practice squad though?
He would have been. I mean, he must be like a coach kind of thing. I'm surprised. I thought for sure they brought him back with the intention on playing him, but he clearly going to. Either he's just it must have never been the plan. They must have brought him in as like a pseudo coach and put him on the practice squad so he's there with the players all the time or what I don't know. But very strange. That with the injuries too, it even opened the door for it, and they never even gave it a look.
Yeah, I mean they definitely had a need for a safety, and he has never. seemingly he wasn't considered. I mean, he was never elevated, and they could have elevated him. Uh, although I guess Codrington, he was on the field today, but I mean, we're doing this Thursday, but I
He,
don't know.
I saw he was on the practice field. I don't know how much he participated, but I mean, dude, if Codrington can't play, you put Shakir back to return punts. You have Ty Johnson return kickoffs. It's very simple. It's the playoffs. You don't mess around.
So yeah, just fair.
I feel like
I don't.
that's
I hate special teams, and the
just fair
odds.
catch it every time.
Yeah, that's what I would do, or just stay away from it. I mean, I don't. Yes, and then I'll bitch that they let it bounce inside the five or whatever. But I just hate
Yeah,
special teams shit. A turnover after a punt is just to me, it's just the worst.
the worst. Yeah. Then you have like just random stuff, like the Steelers Bengals game, that punt at the end of the game by Pittsburgh. The Bengals, like one of the Bengals
Yeah,
dudes, like stepped on the ball. It just doesn't
exactly.
seem like that should be a turnover. It's just an accident. It's not a good play by anybody. It's just a
Mm,
total.
I don't
You got
know.
to be
But
aware.
I'm
But
surprised that you've been able to sleep this week since we got Burrow coming into our barn. I mean, that's
oh
who we're
my
playing
God,
this week, right?
relief. Yeah, I mean the stress quickly transferred over to Denver. So
I never even thought about Denver this year. They started out 0-2. They were 5-5. I mean,
yeah,
they have a pretty good record, and their coaches won before, but I the guy is not impressive to me. I mean, so
they're
they
yeah.
have a bunch of road wins, but their road wins: Raiders, Saints, Panthers, Bucks, Jets, and they won that Jets game like 10-9. They would have been 0-3. They would have been
It
dead.
was in like it was in like a monsoon too.
Yeah, thanks,
Um,
Jets.
but they're oh shit, we might be playing Cincy if that game went the other way. Um,
I wanted Burrow. Fucking bitch.
Denver's schedule. I mean, they had to have like one of the easiest schedules in the league. I mean, you just rattled through half their wins. I mean, their schedule is a joke. So I don't know. They're kind of limping into the playoffs. I feel like the Chiefs game gives them
False hope or something.
almost like a false sense of confidence. I mean, they beat Indy, which was almost fluky because that was the game Taylor dropped the ball at the one, and Indy clearly is terrible.
And so if the Chiefs need that game, say they would have lost one of their 5 or 6 fucking games they should have lost. So they would have had to have won that
I think
game.
like
It would have been so much more fascinating how that game played out. My guess is they would have Denver would have lost. They got swept by the Chargers. I mean, the Chargers are in the playoffs, but
yeah, but
mm,
they just like they lost to the Ravens by they got crushed by the Ravens. Um, I don't know, and their defense got lit up against the Chargers, got lit up against um,
since he put up a lot of points on them.
Cincy. Yeah, I
Oh,
mean they had a lot of sacks on Burrow, but Burrow gets sacked a lot. So I don't know. There's a lot of talk about their pass rush and their defense and Patrick Surtain and this and that, but like I mean, if you have a great shutdown corner, I feel like that's useful when you're going up a team against a team that relies heavily on like one receiver, which we just don't.
that's why
So
I even have that written down. Sertan, I mean, he's like a top 5 in the running for depoy, but I mean, we neutralize his value, the Bills, because if he's going to shut down Cooper, I mean, that doesn't really matter. Cooper averages less than 2.5 catches a game.
Cooper, yeah, he's going to shadow Cooper, and Cooper's targets are going to go from like 2 to 1. Like right, exactly. It's just not. I don't think if you're going up against a team like I don't know who's got one like stud receiver. Can't even think right now, but like that's just not how we play. And the pass rush, I guess I think they set a franchise record in sacks this year. We have the best quarterback maybe of all time at avoiding sacks. Like
This
maybe they'll get a
season.
sack. Yeah, he's got. I mean, his sack numbers. I mean, it's credit to the O line too, but just the way Allen just like evades pressure, I think his sack yardage this year is like 60 on the season or something. So a couple of Denver's strengths just seem to not really go against our like what we like to do. So I don't know. It's tough. I mean, and again, their schedule, the list of opposing quarterbacks that they've faced, it's almost like why we've had good defenses in like 2020, 20. I feel like we had a really easy schedule there. Playing backup quarterbacks you always like to mention how we only play backup quarterbacks. Our defensive rankings are really good, and then we play a real team and get smoked.
And the other game I was thinking of, it seemed like it was forever ago, but it was December 3rd. They played Jameis. I mean, that game, Winston,
Yeah,
I just kept banging Winston's over passing yards, and I just kept getting paid that game. I mean, he threw for like 800 yards.
I do
I
remember.
mean, that's the
Did he have a
Browns.
lot of picks or something? I can't remember.
Yeah,
But
he
yeah,
had two pick sixes.
oh yeah,
Well,
that's right.
it was the revenge game for what's his nuts that they got rid of.
Judy.
Yeah. So Judy went off. He had like 200 yards.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I'm sure their defense is decent, but it's not a unit that I think really can like stop us. I mean, history tells us that offensively we're going to be fine based on how Allen has played in the playoffs throughout his career.
Yeah, I mean,
So
listening to WGR this week, some of it is like, I mean, they talk so much about the fucking Chiefs and Ravens. I don't even know who we're playing half the time. But then the rest of the time, they're like, oh, like they make it sound like we're gonna lose. I don't know. It's like a weird thing, but Denver, I just haven't taken them seriously. A rookie quarterback that, yeah, I mean, okay, I fucking didn't respect him coming out, Bo Nix, but I don't know. I mean, he's Bo Nix. He can run a little bit, but it's mostly just dinking and dunking. They have one good receiver,
yeah,
Sutton. He had a big year. Admittedly he did. But the rest of their weapons, I mean, they don't even have a tight end. The tight ends all have less than 20 catches each. I don't even know their names. I mean, I don't play 17 league best ball shit, so I like, don't know their tight ends. But the other guys, Vale, I mean, Mims is pretty quick, but they don't really use him that much. Lil Jordan, and then the rookie Troy Franklin, or he was his second year, Troy Franklin, maybe. Those guys,
um,
middling.
yeah, and they can't run. They're not good at running the ball either. And
And their
then just
two running backs
McDermott's.
completely split. They're almost 50-50 exactly. Javonte Williams and Jaleel McLaughlin.
They don't. Those guys don't strike me as the type of backs that give us like a lot of issues either. But they the and McDermott's history against rookie quarterbacks too. Like it's being able to confuse them, and and Payton's a good offensive coach, obviously. But you're right. It's like everything is horizontal. Line of scrimmage, screens, which we do struggle against screens. But I got to imagine we've been planning for Denver for 2 weeks almost. So hopefully they are going to be ready for that. I mean, you make Bo Nix throw it on the field in the middle of the field, you might be able to force some turnovers that way. But
Yeah, I mean, there's two things that I mean, they say we get up big. Say the Bills get up two scores on them. I mean, Nix, I don't, or Bo Nix, I don't know. But if we get down, somehow we get down, then we have some stupid turnover. I'm not saying that's not possible. We could get down on them. The likelihood we come back and win is much better than if of them coming back and on a big lead.
yeah, if we jump out on them early by 14 or so in the first quarter, it's over.
I mean, the
The
crowd is going to be going. We're going to be in a frenzy. There's going to be
and
some Denver fans, but it's going to be heavily Bills fans.
the last 2 years too, we've against Miami we were up 17-0 in the blink of an eye. Against Pittsburgh, we were up 21-0 in the blink of an eye. We jumped all over these team. In the Miami game, we tried as hard as we could to lose, thanks to our boy Ken Dorsey. But
Didn't Joshy have a fumble that they returned for a touchdown?
Uh,
Pretty sure that was
it
into my end zone.
was that the regular season game?
Yeah, tough to keep track of the fumbles, but
There
I
was
will
two
say,
Dolphins games that were
Jarsh,
close that we both won, but
yeah, we held on those.
turnovers. He's only lost two fumbles this season.
Well,
Six
I was
picks,
gonna
two
say, yeah,
fumbles.
Jarshi, he's held on. He's kept the ball like a fucking baby in a carriage, man. He hasn't dropped it. He
Yeah.
hasn't given it to the other team.
I mean, he's been incredible. I mean, he's the best player in football. I don't care what anyone says. He's the MVP
Chop
this year.
Robinson,
Oh, that dude looks good actually. But yeah, man, but I think that the only way we win the Super Bowl, and this is possible, obviously, is if Allen has a 4 game stretch. I mean, basically like he had in the 4 game stretch that he had against the Chiefs, Lions, Rams, and San Fran, was it? That's the type of football he needs to play for the next month because our defense, I think, is just a major liability. I hope they'll be able to play well against Bo Nix, but I don't see any way we hold Dent or I don't
Baltimore
think I don't think we can hold Baltimore, Kansas City, the Chargers, whoever we end up playing under
Chargers,
30. I mean, they're besides the Bills, Ravens, and Chiefs, who's the next best team in the conference? Chargers? Houston?
Cleveland.
Yeah, exactly. So,
No, I think it's probably the
dude,
Chargers. I haven't. I mean, they have to them. To me, it's all coaching. That dude, whoever needed a coach last year and didn't hire Harbaugh and had a chance to, I don't, maybe, I mean, he probably just picked where he wanted to go. I'm sure he saw, okay, I could work with this
probably.
fucking stud quarterback or alleged
Yeah,
stud. But
alleged.
I mean, and he's been running more, but I don't know. But the playoffs, do they ever bounce our way? Like the Bills the last 4 or 5 years, what's gone our way with seeding? I mean, we've gotten easy first round games, but we've always been the
Yeah,
2 seed, right?
which you should have an easy first
So you
round game.
should,
I mean,
exactly. You should
that's
have
the
an easy.
reward for being the 2 seed is you should be a big favorite.
So that's not
And
bouncing our way, like
we won 13 games 2 of the last 3 years and didn't get the bye. Last year, the Ravens 13-4, they got the bye. The year before 2021, the Titans were 12-5 and got the bye. So it's yeah, we have it. And Kansas City, yeah, they're in a good position now to have a chance to three-peat, but they are in that position because of how lucky they got. Like that no that nothing can change the fact that this season, for the vast majority of the season, they did not play that well, and they won all these lucky games.
and
And
I've
now
been
they get
bitching
the
about it the
bye.
whole fucking year because we saw this coming. I mean, we can see the fucking horizon.
Yeah. And now they have a second round game against a opponent that is very likely like they can't play the Bills or Ravens in the second round, obviously. So they're going to be playing uh, like just not a good opponent in the
Houston,
second
maybe, yeah,
round.
Houston or the Chargers, or maybe the Steelers, but
So
which is even easier. Yeah, because I mean, and the other thing is they look good now. Like they got
they
their
look,
some weapons back.
but they should have lost to. I mean, I shouldn't say should have, but they absolutely could have lost to Houston. I mean, the game would have been that Houston scores to make it 17-16, and Tank Dell destroys his knee, and then
The quarterback
Houston
like
just
falls apart.
implodes.
They
Yeah,
get they won a fucking game that they're losing. They kicked a field goal and it doinked in. And it
doinked in.
doinks out. You're talking literally what, 7 inches?
Yeah, between the doink in and then they had the Denver block. Like Chiefs fans are insufferable. I mean, they just admit like, yeah,
I don't
we
know. They're
got
not as
super
bad
lucky.
as Bengals fans or Ravens fans to
Bengals
me.
fans are brutal. Well, Ravens fan, yeah, I don't know. I mean, Ravens fans with this whole MVP thing, it's like,
It's
dude,
all they have. It's all they have.
Lamar Jackson's amazing, but like he's already got 2 MVPs. Like what? Like it's not like an insult to him. It's just weird. The whole like conversation around the MVP has been very strange.
And who even bets on that shit? I mean, you literally can't bet on it in New York. You could offshore, but you can't bet on that
Yeah.
stuff in New York. So that's like half the gambling market, or I don't even know if maybe New Jersey you can, but yeah, who cares that much about who the MVP is? I mean, the only reason I
Well,
care is because, hey, I don't really like Lamar Jackson, but also he doesn't shouldn't have three MVPs. How many does Mahomes have? Two? So he would have more than
exactly.
Mahomes, and he'd have three more than Josh Allen, who they at least comparable stats, the three guys.
Dude, Allen has like 60 something more touchdowns in his career. I I don't think you can make an argument. I personally, I mean, I'm like I don't think I'm biased, but I don't think you can make an argument that Lamar Jackson has had a better career than Josh Allen. I really don't.
You're not biased,
Regular
but
season success, playoff success. I mean, Lamar has been bad, whatever. But the MVP, like the whole thing with the MVP is there's a reason why there's offensive player of the year. It's a different award. The MVP you take more into account than just stats, which obviously every Ravens fan should know because Lamar won it last year with stats that were not good, were not as good as other players. So
yeah. And the other thing is, so there, I mean, there's always a racial thing to it, or there's also just say don't even look at their color. Which I know you can't really do, but they both were ripped on, maligned, criticized the one they came out as both being pretty much a joke. One
yeah,
they said was racism,
well,
the other one was not racism. I mean, whatever, but they both are not going to live past that until they win a Super Bowl. But there's like like an overcompensation to it or something now. I
yeah.
don't
I
know.
mean the Lamar thing, like, yeah. I mean, and I think with the MVP too, like, I do think you have to look at it more holistically because the legacies of these players are defined by stuff like this, and you can't tell me that it makes any sense through 6 7 years that Lamar Jackson would have three MVPs and Patrick Mahomes would have two. Like that's laughable, obviously. And I
Yeah.
think the voters are gonna like think about it like that too. And that doesn't mean that it's like some may say, oh, it's a charity award to Josh Allen. Josh Allen has been, like I said before, he's had a better career than Lamar Jackson. He's been in the top five for the MVP, what, like every friggin' year? I mean, the guy, I don't know, whatever. So there's a lot more that goes into it. I mean, you want to give Lamar Offensive Player of the Year because his team, they win by 30 points. He completes like 12 passes in a game. Like, I don't know. Obviously, Derrick Henry is having a huge impact on them as well. So
Yeah, and
they have
I mean that's
nine
another.
Pro Bowlers.
Yeah, nine Pro Bowlers, and they have. I mean, who Cook is very good, but he's not really. No one's like scared of or game planning James
No,
Cook like you are him. But I mean, Cook did have a really good year too. So
Cook had a really good year, but I think it's easier to make the argument that Cook has the success he has because of Allen, more so than you can make the argument that Jackson
yeah, that's
is
actually a
having
good
the year he
point.
has because of Henry. Henry ran for 2,000. People want to talk about like, oh, Henry's having a great year because of Lamar. Henry was a Hall of Famer if he retired last season.
Yeah, he did that with I mean, I don't even know
He
who their
ran for
quarterback was last
he ran
year.
for 2,000 yards with Tannehill like 2 3
Yeah.
years ago. So
And that goes against him too. Like, oh well, then you had to run. Yeah, well, you could have stacked the box. He still got the yards. So yeah,
exactly. So I don't know. I mean, Lamar is a great player, obviously, but like these people thinking it's like we got to tear down Allen and he doesn't deserve it and this and that and has to go to Lamar. Like, come on, get out of here.
well, also, if you
So
just take away don't look at pictures of them and don't even look at their names. Oh, you have two guys on one team. I mean, he's the running back's going to get some votes. I mean, I know they're not, maybe not. I don't know how it works with first, is it first, second, third votes like it is in other sports, like the
I don't know.
Heisman. I don't know. But if you're looking at second, third rankings and that affects it, I would think that's going to hurt Lamar, but I don't know. I really
Yeah,
don't even care that much about this MVP shit, other than people having to see fucking Lamar having three and Allen
I
and
care about
Mahomes
it.
having combined two. I mean,
I care about it a ton. I mean, I think Allen deserves it. I think I don't want him to ever feel like he's slighted because he plays for the Bills, which that, I don't think that's the case, but like I don't know. He deserves the MVP for what he's done this season, especially, but just like even throughout his entire career. I think you can make a very rational argument he should have won it last season, but we just came on too late. I mean, Lamar won the MVP last year because he had like one great game on prime time against San Fran.
And they got the one seed. Yeah. So are you going to this game Sunday? 1 o'clock, 1 p.m. game Sunday. No wind.
I mean, 1 p.m. I mean, that's like in my wheelhouse. So, I mean,
Nightmare.
I intend to.
I had to get there 8, 8:15. Might have to wear extra pair of
Right.
socks, maybe
Oof. Yeah.
pants, some trousers. So
Yeah.
the
I mean, no
spread,
wind, 30 degrees. It'd be
yeah,
perfect.
no.
Yeah. 8.5
It, I'm bringing up DraftKings right now. It started, I mean, earlier in the week. I mean, of course, we're all looking at it right, or at least I am looking at it right when it comes out. I'm not like not gonna bet it per se, but 7.5, 8.5, 9.5, and it's fluctuating in between there now. Right now, we're at. Gonna click on National Football League here. Scrolling. Ravens 9.5 still. So it's 8.5. Little bit on Denver 8.5. Totals 47.5. I mean, some of the prop bets for Bills offense, not surprisingly, but the some of the prop bets are pretty low. Uh, like Allen's passing yardage 232 and Bo Nix's is 227.
Huh, yeah, I can see that.
I mean, what's rushing props? We got Allen's over is 44.5. Bo's is 28.5. Ooh, I'm gonna have to take that over. Cook's is 58.5.
Seems low.
Yeah, that does seem low. I don't know. Rushing attempts, Cook's 13.5.
Yeah, I
And
mean, the concern with the Bills overs is I do think this game has Trubisky potential in the fourth quarter.
kneeling out. I
I mean, we've had how many games this year where we've guys have rested entire quarters.
yeah. I mean, with this game, we got 2 minutes
Hmm.
left. I mean, I would be surprised if they lose. I mean, obviously, but just seeing like unless it's just catastrophe, I just don't see Bo Nix really. I mean, unless their defense really clamps down on us, but I don't. The way that we're cooking, I mean, like we allude to, I was way wrong about the offense. The amount of points we score. It's just I don't see
Yeah,
them really slowing us down for an entire game, especially at home. Pretty good weather. Not any weather to affect us. The crowd's gonna be going crazy, and we're healthy as hell. Tough travel,
yeah.
I
I
think, a
think
little bit. I mean,
the only way I think we lose is if the Broncos, similar to the Patriots, they have a really long drive, score, touchdown. We like go 3 and out, and they have another really long drive, score. All of a sudden, the first quarter's over, and we're down 10-0, 14
yeah.
nothing. But and that is a legitimate concern I have with our defense because we're terrible on third downs. We're the second worst team in the league at forcing punts. Like, yeah, we get takeaways, but
Most in the
I don't put,
league.
yeah, I don't put, that's like, to me, it's just like, it's
Luck.
almost fluky. There's a lot of
Yeah.
luck involved in that. We do
There's
not
some.
force
There's
punts.
some. I'm
We
going
literally,
30-20. I'm going 30 to 20. We got no time left here.
I got the Bills putting up 40. I'll go 41-13.
Well, Bills team total 28.5. I might jump on that now then.
Yeah. I think there's a revenge factor too. I just want to make sure I throw that in there
Oh
from
yeah, from
last
last
season.
year. Yeah, that
I
stupid
think
coach.
that
Von
people
Miller
don't put
too.
about that. Yeah.
He needs to wake the fuck up.
He's saving it for the postseason.
And that dickhead from Miami too. Our DNs need to wake up. 43, he'll have a day. We'll see in the grass.
All right, later.